Mike is here with Fanbolt.
Hello.
And Zach is here with comicbook.com.
Great.
And Meagan is with Bloody Disgusting.
Great. All right. Very exciting. Love them all. All right, let's talk. Let's talk Hellfest.
What's the experience been like so far?
It's been great. It's been development's been has been amazing, and then you live with something. I've been on the project for about a year, and you have all these thoughts, these visions, and never in my wildest dreams would it look the way it's looking now. It's amazing. We created a lookbook when we started and brought all this photography in, and literally it's exceeding everything that I'd wanted. So the cast is great. Everything it's been awesome. So, really good experience.
How exactly did you get involved?
How did I get involved? It's funny. I got the script. I read the script a couple of years ago, and it was a much different form, and loved it. I've always thought that this kind of film needed to come back because it's the kind of film that I grew up on as a kid. And I got involved with some Paranormal Activity series, and everything went very supernatural for a while. But I really felt like this sort of slasher-ish film that I grew up on, that I've always loved, just was so utilized in the market. So I read the script, loved it. I think it was with it was sort of going in a different direction, and then when it became available again, I knew the people at Valhalla with Gale's company, and I'd met with CBS, and I called my agents and I said, please get me as many meetings as you can on this one. And I came in with a whole slew of ideas, and it fit with what they were wanting to do, and it was just a really good marriage, and it's been fun. We all love, and again, especially Gale, such a huge influence, and that was another big influence. As soon as I knew that, because I had another project with Valhalla, but as soon as I knew that Gale was involved, it was one of those sort of bucket list things to work with her, and we all just had the same love of it. We all pitched ideas that all felt very much in the same direction, and it's been great. Yeah.
You've really kind of changed the horror drama. I mean, Paranormal, Get Out, and now potentially this. Is there something that draws you to this genre?
I grew up loving horror. I think my 11th birthday, I took all my friends to Halloween 2. I already loved Halloween. Grew up, I watched The Shining and as a kid, and The Exorcist I saw really young. I read Amityville Horror when I was 10 years old. I think I've always just loved horror. Big Stephen King fan. So it's funny, I'd gotten away from horror throughout most of my career. I was actually cutting a lot of dramas and independent comedies and so forth. And when I got Paranormal, I jumped at it. It was just one of those amazing opportunities to get back into a genre I loved. And for everyone has, I guess, their sort of what makes sense. It always made sense to me. It was all, I think horror and comedy live in the same sort of, in the same room, if you will. It's all about timing, it's all about setup, it's all about payoff. I just love it. It's fun to sit in a dark theater with people. It's like a roller coaster. It's like a amusement park ride where it's a collective experience. And it's fun, especially editorially and obviously directing wise. It's fun to manipulate a little bit, to create expectation, to subvert it, and then to get that release. So I don't know. I think we all have fears. We all grew up with nightmares and so forth. It's fun to sort of to revisit them.
How will the location work out? Because it seems to be kind of already there before you even have to set anything up.
Yeah, this was such a serendipitous find in that we had looked at a few amusement parks, bigger amusement parks, and for one reason or other they weren't fitting. And then almost at the last minute, this one came up, and as soon as we saw it, it just had that vibe. It's woodsy. It just feels like it's got all the right turns and twists and so forth. So you have blind corners, and you can kind of build that tension. And it was just one of those never stop looking kind of things. You don't settle for anything. And as soon as we got here, obviously our director of photography and everybody are making it look beautiful. But it's really the bones of it were. Like, as soon as we saw it, I said, I gotta shoot here. It was really exciting.
Your kind of retro slasher, is that the sense of fun, like what kind of tone is Hellfest? Are you going for more fun, more scares, a little bit of both?
A little bit of both. I'm always looking for fun. I think it's always important to like your characters. The big thing for me is I take it seriously. So I'm not. I know a lot of, especially slasher films and a lot of horror films in general, can get campy, can get a little too tongue-in-cheek. I fall in love with every project I do, and I take them really seriously. And again, tone can be, you can have fun with any kind of tone, but I definitely wanted to explore character here. Wanted to have a little bit more serious, build some tension, and again, make characters that are relatable, that are fun, that we can look at and go, I want to go to this park with them. So I'm trying to encompass a little bit of everything, but I'm definitely taking it a little bit more serious and want to make it super scary. And for me, scary is not always tons of blood and so forth. To me, scary is tension and letting the audience feel like they saw something when they actually didn't really even physically see it on camera. And I think that's always scary, because I think our minds are always going to do such a better job than most visuals we see. So it's, I'm trying to encompass a lot of tones, if you will, but a little bit more serious and respectful to the genre.
Let's, with Get Out winning like basically everything justifiably and very happy that it did, that kind of changed the conversation about horror completely. I mean, the fact now we can have quote unquote respectable horror films.
Yeah.
Did that have an influence on you taking this project, or is it just like literally this is what I've been doing and I love doing it?
It's sort of what I was doing. I think I got onto the project before Get Out, just before Get Out came out, or before it sort of took off. Look, I've worked on a lot of horror films, and again, we've taken them all very seriously and tried to do this world building. And I think obviously Jordan did it so beautifully in Get Out. I did Happy Death Day after that. It was the same thing. We just want to make people relatable, and I worked a lot with Chris Landon in that respect. It was. Get Out, I think, only helped sort of solidify where we were. But the great thing about horror, I think, as you all know, is that horror's had such a renaissance in the last decade, whether it be the Saw series to Paranormal to passing the baton now to all these other franchises. It is getting more respected. They're driving the box office, and they're no longer, in my opinion, sort of the stepchild. There are, I mean, look at it, what it did last year, how mainstream it is. I think it's great. I think it's back to a legitimate genre, and rightfully so. I think people want to be scared. It's fun. So, and people want to have, like you said, a conversation. It's not just it's easy to get the cheap scares. It's easy to get a jump scare, but it's the conversation that goes with it. And I think that's where hopefully the genre is sort of heading towards.
Did the atmosphere as a whole on set help to get everyone in that mood to be scared and to give a great performance more than just telling them could?
Absolutely. In fact, it's funny. Amy, who plays our lead character, Natalie, she's legitimately scared when some of the performers come out at her, and I like to. In fact, I don't like to rehearse all the performers with her, especially, and with some of the other people as much, because you get such a great reaction when they first come out. Everyone handles a scare differently. Some people will scream, run away. Sometimes she'll want to hit somebody. She'll want to hit the performer. I'd actually gone through a maze at I think the Universal Horror Nights with my wife, who spent the entire time in the maze yelling at the people that were chasing her, like saying, "Stay away from me! Stay away from me! Stay away from me!" It was hysterical. So I kind of tried to incorporate some of that into this. But yeah, you get these great reactions. Again, the vibe around here is great. The set designer, our production designer, Michael Perry, has just done an amazing job. It's kept it very real for them to really kind of stay in the mood. So, super fun.
You mentioned that the script was really different before you signed on. Did you have a direct role in shaping what it is now?
Yeah, I think I brought I think every time a director comes on, they bring their own sensibility. So for me, it was a little less, and again, there's definitely, horror film has inherent violence, but it was a little bit less of the physical violence and a little bit more of the dread, and a little bit more of the menace, and a little bit more of the tension. And again, like I said earlier, I think it was a little bit more of what we don't see, but what we perceive, as opposed to needing to see so much. And I just have, it's always fun when you come out of a project because you get to just pitch ideas. And again, you see if they're simpatico with what everyone else wants. And they were. We created a few sequences where they're really simple. And for me, simple wins the day. Simplicity just rules. So I tried to simplify some areas and just create tension. And for me, at least, they were way scarier than super overt violence. So it was fun. So yeah, I definitely had an influence on it. It was a good process.
How does what influences you more? Is it the directing influences your editing, or editing influences your directing more? I mean, like, do you shoot like with an editor's mind more,
I cannot take away my editor's mind. It's impossible. So literally, I'm on set all day going, all right, so I'm going to use this piece. We're going to cut over to here, and like I think people kind of go nuts with me on set because I'm pre-cutting it as we're shooting. But it's impossible not to think that way. But it's good. I think it's a combination. I spent 25 years in the cutting room where I've been able to see coverage and see what I need. So it's a good balance. And I've learned from learning from Jordan. Even though he's a first-time director, Jordan feels like he's directed 10 films. He's so smart. I've assisted on films for Michael Mann and for Gary Ross and Pete Berg. I've worked for some great directors, so I really feel like I've had a big influence on me to help me with the directing side, and then obviously I know the editing side. So,
what's been your favorite scene to film so far?
My favorite scene so far. It's like picking which one of your kids you like best. That's tough. And my kids ask me that all the time. Which one do you like more? And I always say I love you both. I think it's funny. We've had a couple of scare scenes, which have been the most fun, I think. Again, just building that. There's Gale.
Hi, guys.
Just building the tension and just getting able to sort of live in, like you're saying, talking about the setting and living in the environment and actually utilizing the environment for a scare. So it's really been the simple kind of tension moments that have been the most fun. And then, like I said, getting all the kids out into the environment and just watching them sort of get in the character and use the environment. It's been a blast.
I'd like you guys to meet Gale and Hurd. Hey. This is Mike from Fanbolt, and Zach from comicbook.com, and Meagan from Bloody Disgusting.
How are you?
I'm nauseated after sitting in my car for an hour and 20 minutes, but it should have been 35.
I was doing this, and I was a very angry driver. Do you guys have a question for Gale or for me? Or sorry.
I have a question. This is a project that you have been trying to get it come to fruition for years now. What about
Yeah, we don't give up.
What about this project really made you just keep working at it?
I think it's a fantastic concept to begin with. I am a fan of these horror nights. I love to go to them, and I'm just hooked on the idea that this would be the perfect cover for someone with evil intent. And I love the fact that it's great because in The Walking Dead we have a fantastic cast, but there aren't that many who are in this age range. And it's so great to be able to work with this young, really talented cast, all of whom I know you'll be seeing a lot more of in the future. And that's just really giving me an opportunity to go back to when I was their age, and the world was exciting. It was full of opportunity, and you always think that you're invulnerable, that nothing bad can happen to you until it does. And I love films that have empowering roles for young women who may not think of themselves as being as strong as they are. One of my great mentors in the business, in addition to Roger Corman, was Deborah Hill. So the idea that this whole genre goes back to Halloween, she co-wrote with John Carpenter, had a huge impact on me. when I was young and in this industry. So to be able to do an homage to the kind of the genre that she co-created is something I've wanted to do for a long time, and one of the reasons I just didn't give up on it.
I would ask for both of you, what do you see kind of as, because in general this type of film has kind of a large history of films like it. What would you see that was like? What kind of films inspired you? I mean, you mentioned Deborah Hill, the work, but like, was there any direct films that inspired you when you're like looking at this film, or?
I just love the genre. I love that it's an empowering genre, as I said, for young women. What people may be surprised to know, you probably all know, but your readers may not, is that, you know, on a Friday night when these films open, generally more than 50% of the audience are women. And once again, I mean, people always talk about horror as if it's somehow only young males, and it's completely
it's the opposite.
untrue.
It's absolutely the opposite. Yeah, it is the opposite. And I share Gale's love of strong female leads, whether it be obviously with a younger cast, but, you know, again, Ripley has always been my ideal character. In every movie that I've ever had a chance to develop, she's always been the one that's been the gold standard. So, and I too love the genre. I don't know that there's one film, I could name 50 films that I loved in the genre, but it's just the genre itself. I think, and again, like we talked about with the respect of horror these days, I think in the 80s, whatever, it was driven down sort of to a, maybe not the best place, but it's such a great genre, and I think it deserves the respect of all the other horror films that are coming out now, to be resurrected a little bit. So it's a lot of fun.
Could you expand more about how the roles will be empowering women?
Well, I mean, I don't. You guys have read. Have you read the script? Have you not read the script? I guess we're not allowed to give away spoilers. So let's just put it this way. You know, there are people among our cast who will find strength within themselves that they didn't know they had, and that's a theme that I go back to time and time again, whether it's The Terminator with Sarah Connor, or Aliens, or The Walking Dead, you know, I think it's a kind of story that we need these days when we feel that the world is too difficult, too challenging, overwhelming. We can't do anything about it. It's nice to know that when push comes to shove, we can.
And it's also about relationships. I mean, there's definitely strong relationships in here. It's just about friendship and about being there for each other.
It's it's a coming of age story.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a coming of age story for people who've known each other since high school. Now they're in college. How does that impact relationships among friends? And it's certainly something that changed my relationships, but I am still close to some people I went to high school, also close to people I went to college with, and so this definitely examines that shift.
Yeah.
One thing that stood out to me is that there's the trio of women that are your leads in a slasher film. It's usually like a mixed gender, so right off the bat you have these three leading ladies, but how else do you kind of play with the slasher conventions and like the final girl concept in this one?
Really well, actually. Really well.
Took the words out of her mouth. Gosh, I don't know what we can say, but
We do have an embargo, so it's not.
Yeah, but we don't want to spoil it when we share it.
We'll let them down and hurt them if they break any.
They have to steal you for a quick second,
you can still me?
and we'll bring you back.
Okay.
Both of us?
No.
Okay. Bye, Greg.
All right.
Maybe he'll come back.
All right. Good talking to everybody. Do I have a meeting
He never gets to finish his breakfast.
It's always
Ever. I've seen a lot of leftover meals around this time.
It's good talking, everybody. Hopefully I see you all soon.
Thank you.
I don't know
think you got your answer.
I don't know if we gonna let that one go. Go?
Oh, you go ahead.
Is there? I mean, your IMDb page is ridiculous.
That's because I'm really old.
No, it's because you've been attached to some of the most
Yeah. Sorry.
attached to some of the most basically almost all of the iconic films, whether it be horror, whether it be action, bending. Genre bending films. Is there anything that you get a script or you get an idea and you're like, this is going to make it, or is it just?
I just don't give up. So the fact that this took years.
Yeah.
I just finished a documentary that's airing on PBS this month about William Mankeller, who was elected first principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. That took 7 years. So it takes as long as it takes, and if you're passionate about something, it's worth doing. And the way my litmus test is, okay, I'm going to be giving up a lot of time and effort doing this, which means there are other things I can't do, and I like seeing my husband. But if the story is worth telling and you have the right people, which starts with the right director, the right cast and crew, then I'm willing to go to the mat, however long it takes and however difficult it is.
Is it fair to say every one of your projects is a passion project then?
These days, yes. I mean, there were. I learned the hard way that there were times in the past where an agent or someone else would say, you have to make this movie, it's a guaranteed hit. And the minute someone says guaranteed hit, I refer them back to William Goldman's Adventures in Screenwriting, in which, no one knows anything. So I've learned that I just have to rely on the things that I would love to see and try to bring the right team together to tell those stories.
There's obviously the inevitable question that comes up with these types of films about sequel potential. Is that something that even enters your mind?
You really have. If you worry, it's like if you're playing golf. If you're worrying about your putt when you are, when you have to hit the ball from the tee, you're going to screw up that shot. So we want to tell this story the best way that we can. And that decision will ultimately be made by the audience. If they really like it, I'm sure we can figure out a way.
Any other questions?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
We go to, yep, and I'll bring Robbie over. Go ahead and get settled in the...
It's very fun because so many of the people working on the show are Walking Dead.
Actually, very quickly, is there something that draws, do you like to pull in people?
Absolutely. I mean, come on, when you've worked on a show, we're going into our 9th season.
Yeah.
You have a shorthand. You know that when the going gets tough, these are the people you want going into the trenches with you. I think you'll be meeting with Ewan, who is a costume director for a number of, costume designer for a number of years on Walking Dead, and John Sanders, our prop master. You've probably seen them, on Talking Dead. So they're go-to people, from our line producer to our transpo team, our sound mixer, just across the board.
Is there anyone from the show that that's still around that you'd like to work on, say the next film?
There's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many. I mean, the problem is really timing.
Yeah.
Because The Walking Dead shoots essentially from the beginning of May until Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So when you're given a start date on a film, you have to go. And if you don't, maybe the financing will dry up, or who knows what could happen. So. I mean, the fun thing actually is, Lindsay can tell you, is that on our pledge video, because we did a Kickstarter for Man Killer, a lot of our Walking Dead cast, some of whom are no longer with us on the show, like Scott Wilson and Stephen Yun, but Denai participated, and Norman, and
Cudlitz.
yeah. So we really remain close to this day.
I'd like to talk to you about Man Killer, like at a future
Ooh,
point. I'm also a political journalist, so I definitely I read that and I'm like, oh, I have like 12 questions for that, but I won't.
Yes.
So let's connect on that,
Thank
because
you.
I got a lot of places I would be interested.
Thank you.
So,
That'd
yeah.
be great.
There's plenty of time for me.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Talk about passion project.
Yeah.
You got to have passion for that because there's no money in it.
I work in documentary film, so
then you know.
I just produced one.
You're
Believe me, I
always,
know.
It's on your credit card.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's been crazy, press out.
All right, I'm going to bring the cast over. Roby Attal and Christian James are going to join us. They play two of the boys that are. So the cast is 3 girls, 3 boys, and they're all have their respective partners, and they are the ones going through Hellfest together. This little group of young people, and they're paired off in dates. So the 2 of the boys are available right now. So Roby Attal and Christian James.
I'm going to give you these now so you have them.
Let's.
Walking around.
Oh, thank you.
You are crew now.
Wait, I'm not a union member though. So I'm National Writers Union. Is that okay? Does this work probably better? We do this.
Have a seat here, and then I'm going to have Robbie sit right here next to you. So, hi everyone.
How you guys
This
doing?
is Roby Attal.
I'm Zach, comicbook.com.
Yes, and this is Mike from Fanbolt. And Meagan from Bloody Disgusting. Such a great name.
Bloody
for
Disgusting, Fanbolt, and
comicbook.com.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So Christian plays Quinn, and Robbie plays Gavin. And so you guys, they're recording. So when you answer, just deliver to the
Project to the seat.
Hello.
Here's the obvious. What are you allowed to tell us?
I don't know, not very much.
About our characters?
Yes.
So Quinn, I would say, he's that guy in the group. He's the goofy, just fun-loving guy who wants to see the group always have a good time. He is whipped by his girlfriend Brooke completely, but he's just he's a good-hearted 5-year-old that's living in a 25-year-old's body.
Valid. I would say Gavin. He's like the nice guy.
This is about Gavin right now. He doesn't know what to say for himself.
I would say, yeah. he's just kind of, he's just...
Gavin, I mean, you're the nice guy that just everyone loves and everyone wants to see just get his share.
Yeah, so he's just kind of he's a sweeter kind of, I would say he's just kind of grounded, not super outgoing, but also likes to have fun. He's just... I wish I knew better how to describe him without...
You're doing pretty damn good right now. This is about him.
He's not.
So your method.
We all love Gavin. We all love Gavin.
But it kind of sounds like you might not survive. That's the only problem.
No. I mean, he's just kind of he's a more grounded character, I would say. He's just kind of, he loves to have fun, obviously friends with everybody.
Yeah.
And,
Cool, quiet kid.
yeah, cool, calm, collected,
Yeah.
kind of goofy. And,
That's my teabag.
Is there a lot of physicality to your roles?
Yeah, that's on you.
physicality, I wouldn't say it goes too over the top in any sort of direction. I don't think I'm really pushing myself to kind of stick to any specific physicality. No, I would say he's pretty laid back. I mean, I don't really try to do anything for Gavin that's outside of my own kind of comfort zone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say he's pretty comfortable. He's a sneakers every day kind of guy. Every day, any occasion,
Quinn probably has a slight ADHD problem like me. So he's a little hyper and always ready to go and looking for the next fun thing. but he's not over the top. He's not too boisterous. He has his moments, but he stays pretty cool, calm, collected, and just wants to watches over the group more than anything.
How do your characters evolve as the story unfolds?
Trying to
Be all shivers and shit.
I'm trying to find a way to answer that's not giving away any like story plot points.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that Gavin kind of starts off nervous about how the night's gonna kind of play out, because he walks into it and then we're all going hellfest. How's this gonna happen? And he kind of just becomes a little more confident in himself, I would say. He kind of starts to drop into feeling comfortable around people that he doesn't know as well, or kind of just big social situations that he's probably not super used to. I think Gavin's the kind of dude that would just most of the time stay home, hang out with friends, and so doing a big social outing like this is kind of not necessarily out of character, but just not his typical Friday night activity or even Halloween night. He's kind of like a stay-home, watch horror movies kind of guy, it seems. So, yeah, you'll get an idea of him kind of dropping into that, and just starting to have more fun.
Quinn is always excited. Quinn loves Hellfest. Quinn is ready for this. And as you see, as it goes on, you get to see Quinn go from being this, macho guy that like, oh yeah, this is awesome, to there's going to be moments in there where, I don't like to admit it, but I get scared pretty shitless, and it's gonna be like, oh, okay, so he's not that strong of a guy. But no, yeah, there's a few times in this where I really don't want to admit, but the parka has just scared me.
Yeah, straight up as an actor too.
It's just spooky. Like you're going through it and you're just like,
it's all nighttime, foggy, and
I mean everything. Yeah, it's
really impressive practical effects. So some of the actors are spooky.
Yeah, nothing's CGI, so everything. Yeah,
that's actually something Greg mentioned, right? Mentioned that that he brings the characters. He'll have people either sneak up on you or do things. Like, is there any stories or that you can tell, or are there, or just in generalities?
I kind of have I can keep it pretty general, but there was obviously when it comes to film, you run scenes like over and over and over again. And there's this one part where me and Amy, who you'll meet later, I'm sure she plays Nat. We were both kind of running the scene over and over and over again, and there's this one scare actor that was kind of just standing in the path. We're walking through the park, so he's just standing there. And then, so we did the scene like over and over and over again to get different takes, and he didn't move on any of the scenes. And on the final take, I guess Greg had whispered in his ear, "Hey, on this one, scared the shit out of him." So finally, the last take, she freaks the fuck out. It was great. So yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, no. There's one of the scenes we're walking in. It's just we're taking in the park, and there's a lot of scares around, and of course some of the planned ones that are going to come up. But Greg has been good about sneaking whispers to these people, and just out of nowhere, like you're doing a take and you're thinking everything's like cool, calm, kosher and going the same way, and then all of a sudden someone pops up behind you, and it's been great, man. It's real. It's not fake by any means.
Yeah. And the scare actors are really impressive.
They're great. They're all trained. They've all been
super
doing it for
committed
years.
to what they do.
They really want to scare the shit out of us, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Scarers do.
I forget the name.
Netherworld.
So
it's Netherworld scares that are coming in, and other theme parks that are actually that they hired that. This is their job come Halloween is, hey, let's scare the shit out of people.
It's cool. They all have specific names for their costumes.
Yeah, the
lore behind their characters. I love it.
They're great.
Prior to taking on this role, were you fans of horror movies or haunts?
Yeah.
Yes.
Love horror, paranormal stuff. Yeah, all the time. It's like that's like the kind of the comfort food thing. Whenever I'm hanging with my girlfriend or hang with my friends. It's always kind of like, it's the easy go-to. You know, nowadays it's like 90% of hanging out is browsing Netflix, and it's always the horror section. It's
There
like,
you go.
what
It's always
is
the one
good?
that, like, yeah, I want to have a good jump. I want to be excited.
Yeah, it's just fun to do with your friends.
I mean, half the time when I watch horror films, my hand's probably on my face, covering my eyes just a tad bit. But you know, it's the excitement is what I seek out, and that eerie feeling of just like this is kind of too real. I don't like that.
I love me some good costumes.
Oh.
This movie's got it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I love, especially like in crowd scenarios, and anything, horror, sci-fi, whatever, I like to kind of scan the crowd and see the different costumes. And I think this one's going to be good for that, because even as an actor, I walk around and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't see this person yet.
Yeah.
And so it'll be fun to watch and kind of pick out the little costumes. Well, did you see that guy? And so yeah, I love that in horror. Good makeup and costumes and stuff like that. So.
How do you feel that Hellfest is setting itself apart from other horror genre tropes?
Well, for me, I feel like this movie kind of
It's like a well, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
For me, it's they've done a great job at modernizing classic horror slashers, but in a way that this is bringing a real life scenario to the big screen, where it's something that the next time anyone wants to go to a Halloween theme park and they see this movie, they're going to question, shit.
Yeah, you're gonna think about
they're like, this guy in a costume, is he really an actor or is he really a killer? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that it's not entirely outlandish.
No,
and,
by any means.
I think there will definitely be moments where you kind of forget you're watching a horror movie and you're really kind of just living in the reality of these characters. Just like they're just going to a festival to have fun. There's not really a whole lot that
it's not, nothing's faked. There's not a lot of CGI. Like we said, it's a lot of practical effects. It's a lot of practical makeup, and it's a lot of just real life. And you know, we got a camera on us. And it's just, to us, like,
and even in terms of kind of how all the characters relate and talk to each other, it's not. It just feels really grounded.
Yeah, when we all met, we had like the best chemistry. We all met, and 2 days into it, we started staying up together and switching our sleep cycles for filming, and we all just became really close friends. And so when we're in there and we're joking with each other and we're giving each other shit, like it's straight up like, I'm giving Gavin shit because I love Gavin, but I'm gonna give you shit. And yeah, nothing. The chemistry is what's gonna be so beautiful on the camera, is because when you watch it, anybody who watches it is going to be like, oh, that's my friend group. That's I remember when I did that to you last year. Like, that's the kind of feel you're going to get. It's going to be a real life thing.
Aside from, I guess, kind of realistic scenario, a lot of old classic slashers, you're always yelling at the TV, like, don't do that. And do you feel like your characters kind of are also modernized and they're not, like, dumb?
Yeah, I think that there are definitely kind of, we've got a really great open rapport with Greg, to where we can really kind of, you know, we all watch those movies. Like, obviously, he's watched tons of them, and we watch tons of them, and so whenever we do have moments like that, there always seems to be kind of this open channel of like, don't you think this is kind of stupid? You know,
yeah, like, we don't want to give this away like this.
Yeah,
like,
and even as an actor, you want to be able to feel like, especially when the rest of the movie is so grounded, like we're saying, it's like you don't want all of a sudden for these characters to seem like dopey walking into
oh, this sounds like a bad idea. Let's do it.
Yeah, so we've tried to kind of really make sure that everything feels motivated, like properly. Like, would my character do this for, you know? And I think we've achieved that.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Like you said, I mean, Greg, it's just been like, if we ever have a concern about something that we're like that's scripted or that we have to say, we go up to Greg and be like, hey man, so I personally probably wouldn't say this. He's like, okay, well, what would you say? Like, how would you react to this situation? And we get to sit down and find a middle ground of what's going to be best for the film and what's going to help us attain that look and feel.
Yeah.
And it's been great. It's been
and
very
honestly,
much.
like with the circumstances of this piece being we're at a festival where you've paid money to come in and get scared, and everything looks really real. You know, like, even there's kind of even this meta thing going on in my mind. Like, I'm here filming a movie about people going to a festival and everything looks really real, but then things are actually real. And then on top of that, I'm like, but that's fake. But what if it actually is real and I'm an actor on a set where somebody's murdering in a movie, and it's just like
it's inception of movies.
Happen. Like, it could all really
it's a horror movie
happen.
inside of a horror movie inside of a horror movie.
Like, all the blood and guts and stuff, like, it's there and it looks real, and you got these
and it's just so much. It's so good.
So
it's so good. They've done amazing.
It's really easy to kind of justify the thinking of your character in the context of this film, where it's like, oh, okay, there's blood and guts that look super real over there. Like, why would I think twice about it? This is why I came here. And so, you know, stuff like that, you don't really feel like they're making like dopey decisions.
No.
And in the context of the film, it's really easy to be like, well, yeah, I mean, I would do that too. I don't really think twice about this on Halloween, you know. I don't know. Really quick side note, but like one time it was Halloween, actually Halloween, me and my friends are getting chased by actually this like strange homeless person. One of my friends screams, and somebody in the distance screams back, and then we hear distant laughing. And so it's just kind of like, of course, like, why would you think twice? It's Halloween.
Yeah.
But it was actually happening. This dude was a freak, and it was very scary. But like,
homeless people tend to like Robbie.
Yeah, we get along great, and so we actually do.
Yeah, he's had a few incidences.
But yeah, so that's kind of like what I think about. It's like, why would you think twice? You know?
Yeah, if it's during, I mean, on the night where everyone's supposed to be dressed up and be scared and have fun with it. When you see it happening, your first instinct is, oh, that was awesome. That's scary. That's great. And you never really think, oh shit, is that really happening? And so it's yeah.
Yeah.
This whole genre is really, really tough to pull off well, like without going full campy and whatever. Like, there's only a very handful, like couple Halloween films, couple there here and there that like, and those actors usually go on to do really great things. Is there anybody that you see that you kind of look to in the past in this genre that you're like, oh, he did that right, or she did that right? And it's kind of a tough question. Pulling it through the whole genre.
That's a tough one.
Unfair. Well, the film, like, kind of films that did it right that you see.
Let's see. I mean, thinking back on like films where I've been like, oh man, that was scary because it was such a realistic situation. Like, I mean, I think of Blair Witch when we finally watched Blair Witch. It's like, most of the stuff, I was like, okay, this is totally justified. You know, like, that's when I love a horror movie, because like you were talking about, when sometimes they're making these decisions and you're like screaming at the TV. My favorite horror films are the ones where I'm like, I would have done that too. What else could you have done? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Blair Witch.
It kind of sounds like that's by building kind of the improv, like, you don't know which character is going to jump out at you. That's kind of what Greg is kind of building.
Yeah, I think when you're watching it, there's no one where I mean, you know, obviously when you watch a movie like this, everybody likes to place their bets. Like, the group of friends.
This is going to happen. This person's going to die.
Yeah, exactly.
But like Robbie said, this is in the grand scheme of everything. When you watch this, it's just going to be like, it's going to be real life. It's going to be you're going to watch it. And it's going to be like, oh yeah, like I would have done that. Like, of course, like, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, I wish I could think of a specific actor for you.
I got like 3 hours of sleep last night, and
really do the research.
As far as bonding goes, was it immediately just a connection?
Yes. There was
no warming up. It was just
we walk in the room and we started giving each other shit right off the bat. Everyone's been phenomenal.
Super well cast. I think, there's been a great,
just a great rapport with everyone. Like we said, we all met up, and I was the last one's cast, so I came in after everyone got to meet each other, and I walked in and they all just right away was, hey, how you doing? Like, introduce like great things, and then like, hey, so do you guys want to all like stay up tonight together so we can get our sleep cycles on the same schedule? We're in the hotel room, we're watching Halloween, that's the first thing we did. We threw on Halloween, we all sat down and we just started talking. And it was
Well, I mean, like falling in, just going back over and over again to like the actual circumstances of this movie. Like as an actor, or as a character, we're all a group of friends going to Hellfest. As an actor, we're all a group of friends going to Hellfest. So it's not like, it wasn't outlandish to be like, all right, yeah, what do we do to get into character? Watch horror movies, eat popcorn, and talk shit with each other. You know, it's like, it's all just like, it's really easy to just play the realism of the situation. Just like, we're a group of friends going to a horror festival. And right from the get-go, the casting call was like, we just want you to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, show us that you're just
a group of college friends that are having fun.
Yeah, goofing off. And, that's the only circumstances that need to be played in this film, because it's not about a bunch of characters that are totally aware of what's going on. It's about a bunch of characters that are just having fun at a festival, but there's something kind of looming. But every time that thought kind of enters your head, you're like, oh no, I'm just actually getting scared now. This is crazy. So yeah, I mean, for me, I'm in a movie about going to a festival. That's it. Like, it's not a horror movie for my character. It's just a rom-com. Like,
this is us being like, okay, we're going to a festival and having a great time. This is Hellfest, guys. Like, this is what we've been waiting for the night of the year. Like, let's go have a fucking fun time.
Yeah.
And we get there, and like he said, it's not just a group of teenagers going and like that's what they're doing. But as actors, it's just we're going there as well, and this is our time to enjoy Hellfest.
Yeah.
I'm good? Okay, cool.
You mentioned there's a lot of kind of in the background, the sets, the blood and guts of like the Hellfest. Do you get to get into any of that?
Ooh.
Into the blood and guts?
I mean, is there any stunts? Do you get covered? Is there any kind of visceral scenes, or is it all dread?
I don't know what I can say.
I don't know what I can say. You know what?
It's a festival.
Yeah.
Rides everywhere. Don't you want to ride them all?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. If you go to a theme park, you go to Netherworld. Sooner or later, you're gonna go through the foam pit. Sooner or later, you're gonna get some blood splattered on you. Like, and that's what Hellfest is. If you want to go to a damn good Halloween theme park and you want to have a good time, you're gonna expect to get a little dirty. You're gonna expect to get a little bloody, and that's what Hellfest is gonna bring you.
Well said.
I got you.
So blood water slides is what you're saying.
The most.
Did you read the script?
Gave him a copy, guys.
So your producer does a little show called The Walking Dead. I don't know if you guys know that one.
Is that new?
Yeah, it's new. It's on, I forget what channel.
Okay.
But,
I'll look it up.
But have you guys kind of hope that you've been poking at her going, hey, by the way, I'm available after this.
I don't want to seem too eager. I binge watched the first season in a day span. But if I could work with Gale again, it would be a blessing. She's a sweetheart, and she's so talented at what she does. I mean, she has a star on the Walk of Fame. I mean, she's Gale and Hurd. It's huge. Yeah, and when we first walked on set, I mean, she greeted every single one of us by our first names. It was just, hey Robbie, hey Christian, hey Matt, hey Bax. It was, I mean, so if I could be on Walking Dead with her, I would be thrilled. I would be honored, because she's just amazing to work with, and she's great.
Yeah. I mean, even if it wasn't The Walking Dead, she's got quite a legacy.
Yes.
Who knows what's in the future?
Terminator,
it's like, just whatever you got, keep in mind. But I mean, no, she's just been nothing but nice. It's kind of you don't even get any sort of idea of like this massive trail of excellence that's like behind her,
and she's just the sweetest woman.
She's a great person,
down to earth, grounded, doesn't. There's nothing there that you cannot like about Gale.
But yeah, we totally do Walking Dead.
Okay. Finish off that question.
Sure, if the opportunity presents itself.
Play Carl.
Yeah, sure. Grown up, maybe. Wouldn't you just stick with him? I don't know.
Was there a particular set or prop that you guys just went absolutely crazy about once you saw it?
Just keep in mind, guys, they're going to see these things on set, so it's fine.
Oh, okay, cool.
There's some of these big, like, creatures that
Yeah,
you
the
see.
Reaper.
Which one is the Reaper?
The one with his mouth opens and that one. You know what I'm talking about, the one. Whoa.
That's gonna be scary.
the dinosaur looking thing in the boobs.
Oh, I like the guy with the hat on, with the tassels. It looks like a big troll.
Oh, okay.
Like
I like the Reaper. He scares me.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
The dragon with the red eyes and the thing that flares up. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the actual man.
Yes!
Yeah. Well, you're not going to see him, but there's this great costume, this guy.
I know you're not going to see him. They're talking about the things, the costumes.
Oh, well, I thought you were just talking about any of the set dressing or anything. There's one, just you'll see the big troll guy I'm talking about. He's really cool, and he's got moving parts, and his jaw will chatter, and he's got this hat on.
I mean, and honestly, the set decoration on here is just it's out of this world. Like when you walk, like for us, that's the best thing is when we walk into it, like. Holy shit! These are the actual games. Like, yeah, let's do this. Like, the first time I got to see all the carnival games set up, I walked in and I was just like, this is fucking awesome. This is so much fun. Like, let's do it.
If you guys do a walkthrough, it might seem kind of sparse, but like for each scene, they'll take all the stuff and set it up and light it up and fog it up and it's kind of cool because it's really like the whole park isn't done up. Like, there's stuff everywhere, but still, the whole park isn't just, like, made and then we just put the camera there. The setup, obviously, for each shot. But, man, like, when those shots are set up, it's like, boom. It's like, whoa.
You're going to see it. You're there.
Like,
you're going to be transported
and then you
to
get all
Hellfest.
the extras in there and the costume. People like he was talking about. This one guy he's got his character called the Reaper, and it's got, like, this big fin that pops up, and then you can work the jaw and the eyes light up. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Just some really cool stuff.
No, they did an excellent job. We are blessed with who we have decorating our sets and making this a possibility for us.
There's this one large-mouthed clown that you'll see with these freakish eyes. Really makes me uncomfortable. You'll know him when you see him. He doesn't move. He just sits there and salivates at you. So. Really uncomfortable.
Christian, your presence is being requested.
My presence being requested.
And we are now ready to do a little tour with you guys with special effects makeup.
Yeah. Have fun.
Hey guys, thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thanks so much.
Pleasure, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Look forward to it.
Guys,